On a bright morning, the sun shone brightly over a small town on Earth. People went about their daily lives, unaware that something extraordinary was about to happen. High above, in the blue sky, a spaceship descended quietly, glimmering like a silver coin. This was not just any spaceship. It belonged to a team of extraterrestrial medics from a distant planet. Their mission was to learn about human healing and to share their advanced medical technology. As the spaceship landed softly in a nearby field, a group of curious townsfolk gathered to see what was happening. The ship opened its doors, and out stepped the medics, dressed in shiny uniforms that sparkled in the sunlight. They looked very different from humans. Their skin was a soft shade of green, and their eyes were large and bright. They moved with grace and confidence, ready to begin their work. The leader of the medics, named Dr. Zelra, stepped forward. With a friendly smile, she raised her hand to greet the people. "Greetings, Earthlings! We come in peace. We are here to learn from you and to help in any way we can." The townsfolk exchanged glances, unsure of what to think. Some were excited, while others were cautious. Dr. Zelra explained their mission. "We have studied your planet from afar and are amazed at your resilience. We have brought our advanced healing technology to see how it can help you, but we also wish to learn how humans recover from injuries. Your abilities are quite fascinating to us." As the aliens set up their equipment, they prepared to meet their first patients. They had brought machines that could heal wounds, mend broken bones, and even cure illnesses in record time. The townsfolk were both curious and nervous. Some bravely stepped forward to volunteer, eager to see what the aliens could do. The first volunteer was a young man named Alex. He had recently sprained his ankle while playing soccer. He hobbled over, his face showing a mix of pain and excitement. Dr. Zelra approached him with a warm smile. "Do not worry, Alex. We will help you recover quickly." She gently examined his ankle and then activated her healing device. A soft blue light enveloped Alex's foot, and he felt a warm sensation. The townsfolk watched in awe as the machine worked its magic. Within moments, Alex's ankle felt better. He stood up and took a few steps, amazed at how quickly the pain had faded. "This is incredible!" he exclaimed. The crowd cheered, and the medics felt a sense of pride. They had successfully demonstrated their technology. Encouraged by this success, more townspeople came forward, seeking help for various ailments. The medics used their devices on everyone, from minor cuts to more serious injuries. With each treatment, the excitement grew. The townsfolk were astonished at how fast the alien machines worked. The medics were equally fascinated by the humans' reactions. As the day went on, the medics noticed something unusual. While their machines healed the injuries, the humans seemed to recover even faster than expected. For instance, an elderly woman named Mrs. Thompson had a deep cut on her arm. After the medics treated her, she thanked them and began to bandage the cut with a cloth. The next day, she showed the medics her arm, and to their surprise, the wound had healed almost completely. "Look," Mrs. Thompson said, smiling. "I hardly feel any pain at all. I think I'll be back to gardening in no time." The medics were taken aback. They had expected the healing process to take much longer. Dr. Zelra noted this in her tablet, curious about the human body's ability to mend itself. As more humans healed, the medics began to share stories about their home planet, Zorath. They explained how their technology had evolved over centuries, allowing them to develop machines that could heal injuries almost instantly. The townspeople listened with fascination. They learned about Zorath's lush landscapes, advanced cities, and the peaceful lives of its inhabitants. However, as the medics continued their work, they found themselves in a dilemma. They had come to Earth believing that their technology was the best in the galaxy. But now, witnessing the incredible healing powers of humans, they felt a growing respect for the Earthlings. The medics began to question their own assumptions. Was their technology truly superior? Or was there more to human recovery than they had realized? As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the town, Dr. Zelra gathered her team. They sat together, reflecting on the day's events. "We have much to learn from these humans," she said thoughtfully. "They possess a strength and resilience that even our best machines cannot replicate. We must study this further." The medics decided to conduct an experiment. They would treat a group of humans with their advanced technology while leaving another group untreated to see how they healed naturally. This would provide valuable data and help them understand the differences in healing processes. The next day, the medics announced their plan to the townspeople. Some were eager to participate, while others were hesitant. "We want to learn from you, but we also want you to understand your own abilities," Dr. Zelra explained. "By comparing our methods, we hope to find a way to help both our peoples." Alex and Mrs. Thompson agreed to be part of the experiment. They felt proud to represent their town and were curious to see how the aliens would measure their healing. The townspeople gathered around as the medics divided them into two groups, one that would receive treatment and another that would heal naturally. As the days passed, the medics watched closely. They recorded every detail, from the healing process to the patient's feelings. What they discovered was astonishing. The humans who received treatment healed quickly, but those who did not receive treatment also recovered remarkably fast. Dr. Zelra and her team began to realize that the human body had a remarkable ability to heal itself, often faster than their advanced technology. The medics were impressed, and their respect for humans grew deeper. They started to engage with the townspeople more, asking questions and sharing knowledge. The interactions became warm and friendly. The medics learned simple human practices that aided recovery, such as rest, nutrition, and emotional support. They realized that healing was not just about technology, it was also about the connections humans made with each other. As the experiment drew to a close, the medics felt a sense of accomplishment. They had not only helped the townspeople, but had also learned valuable lessons about the human spirit. Dr. Zelra stood before the crowd, her eyes shining with pride. "Thank you for welcoming us into your lives," she said. "We have learned so much from you. Your strength and ability to heal inspire us." The townsfolk cheered, grateful for the medics' assistance and the knowledge they shared. They felt a bond forming between the two species, united by their quest for understanding and healing. In the days that followed, the aliens and humans continued to work together. They shared stories, laughter, and knowledge, creating a unique friendship. The medics realized that while they had advanced technology, there was something special about humans that they could not replicate. As they prepared to return to Zorath, the medics reflected on their time on Earth. They knew they would carry these lessons with them forever. Dr. Zelra looked at her team and smiled. "We have much to teach our people, but we also have so much to learn from the humans. Their recovery is not just physical, it's a testament to their resilience and spirit." With hearts full of gratitude, the medics boarded their spaceship, ready to share their incredible experiences with their home planet. The townspeople waved goodbye, knowing they had forged a lasting connection with beings from another world. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a beautiful friendship between humans and the medics of Zorath. The sun rose brightly the next day, shining down on the small town where the extraterrestrial medics had made their home for the past few days. Excitement buzzed in the air as townspeople gathered to see what the alien medics would do next. They were eager to witness the strange technology that had amazed them before. The medics had become local celebrities, and everyone wanted to be part of this extraordinary event. Dr. Zelra and her team prepared for the first set of tests. They set up their equipment in a large open area, using their advanced tools and machines. The aliens had brought a variety of healing devices, each designed for different types of injuries and illnesses. The townsfolk watched with curiosity as the medics adjusted their machines, making sure everything was ready. "Today, we will test our healing technology on various injuries," Dr. Zelra announced to the crowd. "We want to see how our machines work compared to human recovery. We encourage everyone to participate." The crowd murmured with excitement, and a few brave volunteers stepped forward. The first volunteer was a young girl named Lily. She had scraped her knee while riding her bicycle the day before. She approached Dr. Zelra with a shy smile. "I want to help," she said, pointing to her bandaged knee. The medic knelt down and gently unwrapped the bandage to examine the scrape. "Very well, Lily. Let's see how our machine can help you," Dr. Zelra said. She activated a small handheld device that emitted a soft green light. As she hovered the device over Lily's knee, the light pulsed gently. Lily watched in awe, fascinated by the glowing gadget. In just a few moments, the scrape began to fade. Dr. Zelra smiled as she saw Lily's eyes widen in surprise. "How does it feel?" she asked. "It doesn't hurt at all." Lily exclaimed, bouncing on her toes. "Thank you!" The crowd clapped, amazed at how quickly the machine worked. The medics exchanged pleased looks, proud of their technology. Next, a young man named Marco stepped forward. He had sprained his wrist while playing basketball. He winced as he held up his arm. "I want to try too," he said bravely. Dr. Zelra nodded and led him to the treatment area. Using a different device that looked like a small box, Dr. Zelra placed it over Marco's wrist. "This will help reduce the swelling and pain," she explained. As the device whirred softly, Marco felt a warm sensation enveloping his wrist. "Wow, this is nice," Marco said with a grin. The crowd watched in amazement as the swelling in his wrist gradually decreased. Within minutes, he was able to move his arm freely. "I can't believe it! This is amazing!" The townsfolk cheered, their excitement growing with each successful treatment. The medics continued to treat various injuries, from cuts and bruises to minor burns. Each time a human healed quickly, the crowd erupted in applause, reinforcing the bond between the two species. However, as the day progressed, the medics noticed something interesting. While their machines worked effectively, they also realized that many of the humans were already healing faster than they expected. A middle-aged man named Mr. Collins had a small cut on his hand. After the medics treated him, he waved his hand in the air, showing that he felt fine. "Look at this! It's almost gone," he laughed. The medics couldn't help but be amazed. They began to wonder if there was more to human recovery than just their advanced technology. As they continued their tests, Dr. Zelra called for a break. She gathered her team to discuss their findings so far. "While our machines are very effective, we must acknowledge the incredible resilience of humans," she said thoughtfully. "They seem to recover more quickly than we anticipated. We need to explore this further." Her colleague, Dr. Zorak, nodded in agreement. "Perhaps there is a unique quality to human biology that we do not fully understand. We should consider running a comparative study between our healing technology and their natural healing processes." Encouraged by the idea, Dr. Zelra announced to the townspeople, "We would like to conduct a special experiment to see how humans heal without our help. We will treat some of you and let others heal naturally. This will help us learn about the strengths of both methods." The crowd was intrigued. Some were eager to participate, while others hesitated. Dr. Zelra reassured them, "This is an opportunity for us to learn together. Your participation will help us understand how we can work together for better healing." Alex, who had participated in the previous treatments, raised his hand. "I'll do it! I want to help you learn." His enthusiasm encouraged others, and soon many volunteers came forward to take part in the experiment. Dr. Zelra carefully divided the participants into two groups. One group would receive treatment using their advanced technology, while the other group would be left to heal naturally. This way, the medics could compare the recovery times and outcomes. As the tests began, the atmosphere was filled with anticipation. The medics took meticulous notes documenting every detail. They wanted to capture the healing journeys of both groups accurately. The treated group received various forms of treatment, while the untreated group received instructions on rest and self-care. Throughout the experiment, the townsfolk bonded with the medics. They shared stories, laughter, and advice about recovery. The medics learned about simple human practices like drinking plenty of water and getting enough sleep, which seemed to aid in healing. Days passed, and the medics observed something remarkable. The untreated group began to show signs of healing much faster than expected. Dr. Zelra and her team noted this with curiosity. The humans were not only resilient, but also had a unique ability to support each other during their recovery. One evening, as the sun set behind the trees, Dr. Zelra gathered her team again. "I believe we are witnessing something incredible," she said, her voice filled with excitement. "Humans have a strength that goes beyond what we can measure. They heal not just physically, but emotionally as well." Her colleagues agreed, inspired by the bonds they had seen form among the humans. They realized that healing was not just about technology, it was also about support, love, and connection. The medics started to appreciate the complexities of human life, which made their own technology feel less important. As the tests continued, the medics and humans grew closer. They shared knowledge and learned from one another, creating a partnership that felt like a friendship. Dr. Zelra couldn't help but smile as she observed this new bond. She knew they were not just here to study humans, but to celebrate their resilience and spirit. Finally, the day of conclusion arrived. The medics prepared to present their findings to the townspeople. Excitement filled the air as everyone gathered to hear what the medics had learned. "Thank you all for being part of our journey," Dr. Zelra began. "What we have discovered is that humans possess an incredible ability to heal. Your strength, support, and natural recovery are things our technology cannot replicate. You have taught us that healing is not just about machines, it's about community and connection." The townsfolk erupted in cheers, proud of their resilience and the lessons they had shared. In that moment, they understood that they were not just participants in a study. They were part of something much greater, a friendship between two worlds. With smiles on their faces and gratitude in their hearts, the medics and the townsfolk knew this was just the beginning of a beautiful relationship. Together, they would continue to learn and grow, celebrating the incredible power of healing that existed within both humans and extraterrestrials alike. The sun was bright and warm as the third day of the experiment began. The town was buzzing with excitement. People gathered in the open area, eager to hear about the next steps in the project with the extraterrestrial medics. Dr. Zelra and her team had promised to introduce a new experiment that would test the limits of human resilience even further. Dr. Zelra stood at the front, her green skin glowing in the sunlight. "Today, we will conduct a surprising experiment," she announced, her voice filled with enthusiasm. "We want to explore how humans respond to stress and physical challenges. This will help us understand not just healing, but the strength of the human spirit." The crowd murmured with curiosity. What kind of challenge would they face? The medics had already seen how quickly humans could heal from injuries, but how would they react to stress? Dr. Zorak stepped forward, holding a small device. "This is a stress test machine," he explained. "It will measure how your body reacts under pressure. We will see how you recover afterward, both mentally and physically. We need volunteers to help us with this test." A ripple of excitement swept through the crowd. Many people wanted to participate. One brave young man named Jake raised his hand and stepped forward. "I'll do it," he declared. The crowd cheered for him, and soon others joined in, eager to prove their strength. Dr. Zelra explained the process. "You will face a series of physical challenges designed to test your limits. Each challenge will increase in difficulty. Afterward, we will monitor how you recover. Remember, it's important to push yourself, but also to listen to your body." The first challenge was a simple one, a sprint across the field. Jake and the other volunteers lined up, hearts racing with anticipation. "On your marks, get set, go," Dr. Zorak shouted. The runners dashed forward, their feet pounding against the ground. The crowd cheered as Jake sprinted with all his might. He felt the wind on his face and the adrenaline pumping through his veins. He reached the finish line first, breathless and grinning. The other volunteers soon followed, panting but smiling. "That was fun," Jake exclaimed, wiping sweat from his brow. The medics noted the heart rates and recovery times, impressed by how quickly everyone caught their breath. The next challenge was more difficult, climbing a rope. The volunteers looked at the tall rope with a mix of excitement and nervousness. "You can do it!" The crowd cheered, encouraging them as they took their turns. Jake grabbed the rope and began to climb. It was tough and his arms burned, but he pushed through. When he reached the top, he felt an overwhelming sense of accomplishment. The crowd erupted in applause. "You did it!" they shouted. However, as the challenges continued, Dr. Zelra noticed something unexpected. While the humans performed well, they also seemed to struggle more than she had anticipated. Some participants fell short during the exercises, feeling tired and frustrated. Dr. Zorak called for a break. "Let's take a moment to rest and hydrate," he suggested. The volunteers took deep breaths, sipping water while the medics monitored their vitals. After the break, the medics decided to introduce a surprise element, a mock rescue scenario. "For our final challenge," Dr. Zelra explained, "we will simulate a situation where you must work together to rescue a teammate. This will test your teamwork and problem-solving skills under pressure." The volunteers exchanged excited glances. They were ready for anything. Dr. Zorak created a small obstacle course with hurdles and barriers. They set up a victim in the middle of the course, an inflatable dummy that needed to be carried to safety. On the count of 3, you will begin, Dr. Zorak instructed. Work together and communicate effectively. Ready? 1, 2, 3, Dr. Zorak shouted. The volunteers rushed into action. They ran through the obstacles, shouting instructions to each other. Jake took the lead, guiding his teammates as they navigated the course. However, as they moved, they quickly realized how challenging the course was. The hurdles were higher than expected, and some people stumbled. There was a moment of panic when one volunteer tripped and fell. The others rushed to help him up, but the team struggled to keep their momentum. "Keep going! We can do this," Jake shouted, trying to lift everyone's spirits. His encouragement sparked a fire in the group. They rallied together, pulling the dummy through the course as a team. When they finally reached the finish line, the crowd erupted into cheers. The volunteers were exhausted but beaming with pride. "We did it!" they shouted, celebrating their victory together. Dr. Zelra and Dr. Zorak clapped, impressed by the volunteers' teamwork. "You have shown us that humans can overcome challenges not just through individual strength, but through collaboration," Dr. Zelra praised. "This is an important lesson for us." After the challenges were complete, the medics gathered the volunteers to discuss their experiences. "How did you feel during the challenges?" Dr. Zelra asked, eager to hear their thoughts. Jake spoke up first. "It was hard, but I felt so supported by my teammates. Even when I struggled, I knew we could rely on each other," he said, smiling. Many others nodded in agreement. They shared stories of how they had pushed through their limits and learned to work together. Some even mentioned moments of doubt, but they quickly found encouragement from their friends. The medics were fascinated. They realized that while their technology was advanced, the human spirit was even more remarkable. Dr. Zorak turned to his team. "We need to document this. The emotional connection and support among humans are key to their resilience." As the day came to a close, the townsfolk and the medics celebrated their achievements. They had all learned valuable lessons about healing, teamwork, and the strength of the human spirit. Dr. Zelra and her team felt grateful for the experience. They had come to study humans, but they were leaving with a deeper understanding of what it meant to be truly strong. The bond between the extraterrestrial medics and the townspeople had grown, marking the beginning of a friendship that would last for years to come. With smiles on their faces and hearts full of hope, they looked forward to the next adventure together, knowing that together they could achieve even more incredible things. The sun rose brightly the next morning, casting a golden hue over the town. Excitement filled the air as the townspeople prepared for another day with the extraterrestrial medics. After the success of the previous challenges, everyone was eager to learn what new experiences awaited them. Dr. Zelra gathered everyone in the center of the town. "Thank you all for participating in our experiments," she said, her voice filled with gratitude. "You have shown us incredible strength and teamwork. Today we want to share some important lessons we've learned from your experiences." The crowd fell silent, eager to hear what the medics had to say. Dr. Zorak stepped forward, holding a small tablet. "We studied your reactions and performances closely," he began, "and we discovered some fascinating things about human resilience and recovery." He swiped through some data on the tablet, showing graphs and images. "First, we learned that humans have an extraordinary ability to bounce back from physical challenges. Your heart rates and recovery times were much better than we expected. You not only pushed yourselves, but also supported each other along the way." The townspeople nodded, remembering how they had encouraged one another during the challenges. Jake, who had taken the lead during the obstacle course, felt a wave of pride wash over him. "We really did work together," he said, grinning. Dr. Zorak continued. "Secondly, we noticed that emotional support plays a crucial role in recovery. The way you motivated and helped each other made a significant difference in your performance. This is something our technology could never measure. Your connections and friendships are powerful tools in overcoming challenges." At that moment, Sarah, a volunteer from the previous day, spoke up. "I felt nervous during the challenges, but when my teammates cheered for me, I felt stronger. It was like we were all in it together, and that made all the difference." Dr. Zelra smiled, clearly impressed. "Exactly. Emotional connections help humans not only physically, but also mentally. The support you give each other encourages resilience, which is invaluable. She then paused, looking at her team. We also realized that the idea of pushing limits is different for humans than it is for us. While our technology focuses on data and precision, you rely on intuition and feelings. This is something we need to understand better. Dr. Zorak nodded. In our previous tests, we focused too much on measuring physical responses without considering the emotional aspect. This experience has taught us that a balanced approach is essential. As the medics shared their observations, the townspeople listened with rapt attention. Many began to reflect on their own experiences during the challenges. The excitement of competition and the joy of teamwork resonated within them. Dr. Zelra continued, "We also learned that challenges can bring communities together. Your willingness to participate and support one another created a strong bond among you. This is something we wish to replicate in our own communities back home." An elderly woman named Mrs. Thompson raised her hand. "You mean you want to create bonds like ours?" she asked, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. "Yes," Dr. Zelra replied, her eyes brightening. "We want to understand how to build connections and support systems, just like you have here. You have shown us that resilience comes from within, but it is also nurtured by relationships." The townsfolk cheered, feeling a sense of pride. They realized their experiences were not just valuable to them, but also to the medics. Jake felt a warm glow in his heart. He had played a part in this important learning process. Dr. Zorak added, "Finally, we learned that challenges should be approached with a spirit of fun and cooperation. The laughter and joy you shared during the experiments made the process enjoyable for everyone. This is something we will carry forward in our own work." The crowd erupted in applause, filled with a sense of accomplishment and camaraderie. They had shown the medics the true essence of humanity: strength, support, and a shared sense of joy. Dr. Zelra concluded the gathering with a smile. "Thank you for sharing your lives with us. We are taking these lessons back home, and we hope to build bridges between our worlds. Together we can learn from each other and grow stronger." As the medics prepared to leave, the townspeople approached them with hugs and smiles. The bond they had formed was undeniable. Jake felt a deep sense of fulfillment. They had not only shared their resilience, but also learned valuable lessons about friendship and unity. As the medics boarded their ship, they waved goodbye to the crowd. "We will return," Dr. Zelra called out, "and we will carry your lessons in our hearts."